All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Sunday watch list. These market conditions are insane. The ranges, everything. Like I said last week, SPY's ATR is normally $5 to $7. It has increased to over $20 this week alone, which is absolutely insane. The ranges are very wide. And so we have to be a little bit more risk off, trade with time on the side. The contracts will be more expensive, and that's just what it is at the moment. So I've been trading a lot of futures this week. Did trade a lot of futures this week. Futures moves have been moving very nice. Um, for this week though, very, very interested in the option setups that are presenting themselves. So let's go over what's coming up this week as far as news wise. And news has been coming out randomly throughout the day this week too. So right? Like on Wednesday, we had that tariff 90-day pause and it just rallied 8% in 15 minutes. We're in these type of market conditions. So going into this week, the major event that I will be watching is Wednesday, we have Jerome Powell speaking. Um, Wednesday, Jerome Powell speaks, and we have retail sales. So Wednesday is going to be a big day, as well as Thursday, we have initial jobless claims. And yeah, initial jobless claims Thursday. So those are the two main events that I'm going to be watching out for this week. Other than that, that's what I'm watching for this week. Going into the charts and the setups should be a fairly simple and short watch list, but it's going to be very valuable. Okay, so let's start off on the daily chart for SPY. What do we see here? We have bounced from that 2021 high. All-time highs back in 2021 was here at that 480 level. Look exactly where we bounced from. So we have been catching a nice relief since bouncing from that level. That was about from 480 to 550. That's how aggressive that move was towards the upside. What are we getting here now? After that Wednesday candle, we got a halfway pullback and we have these two inside bars. So we have the top of this, the bottom of this. I hope you guys can hear that because there's like these festivals going on. So I hope that's not too loud. I'm gonna have to rewatch this. I'm gonna keep going though. Hopefully it doesn't interrupt the watch list. Um, so we have a daily. I wouldn't say it's a bullish engulfing because a bullish engulfing might have to fully cover this one, but it is a very strong bullish candle. We're getting that halfway pullback. We have a bullish hammer in between, but they are inside bars. So as we break this down to a lower time from like a 4 hour, let's say, what I am seeing here is a shift of trend. Overall, the higher time frame trend is essentially this right here. This is like, or we can even go from here to here. We want from there, it's like right there. But really, I'd probably go a little higher. But anyways, around that area. Okay, this is a high, a lower high, lower high, lower high. That is a major key trend line that we should definitely keep on watch. But we have room to get up there. So how can I capitalize on the move up there? Now, let's go to hourly real quick. On the hourly chart, I could even draw a trend line from like here to here, and I could say, okay, well, we didn't make a lower low, right? Because the lower low would be if we would have taken out this low. We did not take out this low, therefore, that is a double bottom, right? It is not a lower low. And now what is this? This is a higher low. So I could even draw a trend line from this low to this higher low, and then this higher low on Friday. And look at where it is headed towards, to that main upper trend line. Now, the main significant level that I am going to watch this week early is at 540. Why? Because on Wednesday, after we got that 90-day pause tariff news, we rallied from 498 all the way to 450 almost. And the next morning, we faded half of the move. But when we faded that move, we formed a gap fill on Wednesday from 540 to 545. So there's still that empty space that needs to potentially get filled. So that 540 level is also a significant level from back here. As you guys can see, this is a very major level of support from back here. What is it going to turn into? Resistance. Now, I want to see if we can, since we're starting to uptrend, if we can clear that 540, I'm going for that gap fill on Wednesday's high, which is 548. Now, the main target will be like that upper trend line. A lot of other individual names are showing strength as well. But that is the game plan for the upside. Above 540, we go into 548. Above 548, the upper trend line is around that area here. So anything can happen at this trend line, right? We can either reject it and end up going back on a downtrend. If this is going to be like a dead cat bounce, a fake relief bounce, if we take out that trend line, I see us getting very bullish again, very, very quickly. Until then, that trend line is going to be very important to watch. Okay, guys. That's the game plan for SPY. We are still inside of a daily. These are still inside bars though. I would lean a little bit more towards the upside based off of these closes though. And it's going to be very similar with QQQ. Watch, we'll do QQQ real quick. QQQ's trend line is going to be from here to here. So we're probably approaching QQQ's trend line a little bit sooner. And that'll correlate with like that 468, 470 level almost, where that trend line should be at. That's going to be a major level to watch, but we can capitalize on the move up to that area. QQ has a similar gap fill above 460. So above 460, that's a great move to 468. Like that's a great move there, right? We had a low, we had a higher low, we had a higher low. As long as we hold that trend line and we break that 460, I'm like sending it to 468. That is an amazing play. Now below 440 and below 433, then it could get ugly back down to 407. Same with SPY. If we start getting below that Wednesday, that Thursday low, it's gonna get ugly. Until then, we have room to this trend line. What's gonna happen at this trend line is gonna really determine whether we keep pushing higher or if we get a big rejection. So right? FOMC, sorry, not FOMC. Jerome Powell speaks Wednesday. That could change a lot of things. But earlier in the week, I do expect this to see. The other only two setups that I have, or three setups, is Apple, Nvidia, and Tesla. Starting off with Apple is the strongest name on the board on Friday. It is up 4%. We have bounced from a very significant level, pretty close, not exactly, but around that 170 area, we have bounced. The next significant level is this 200 level almost. Yeah, like this 200 level. Okay, so that's going to be Friday's high as well. If we can, right, this is like we have a trend line from here to here. That's going to be my main target. We do have a level at 210. Above 200, we have room to 210. And if the individual names like Aapl are going to show strength, I could definitely expect names like SPY and QQ to go up as well. So I'll be following this trend line here. Low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, low, higher, high. Equal high. If we take out this high here, I'm sending it to 210. This setup looks amazing. Like I said, strongest name on the board, 4%. That's going to be my favorite individual name. Second favorite individual name is going to be Nvidia and Tesla. Nvidia, this is exactly what we were looking for on these other names, but it already played out. So very similar look. We had that trend line, high, lower high. What happened? We broke above it and we retested it. And that 104, 105 level was a very significant level of demand from back here, resistance here. What happened? Retest as support. Beautiful retest. And now we're pushing back to that 115. So how can we capitalize on this? We can either look for, because it's already halfway to that 115. And we could look for a break so Friday's high to 115, but preferably just keep eye on it at 115. If it breaks above that, it has room to like 119. Okay, so that's one way I could look at NVIDIA and just follow this current trend line that we do have on it from this low, higher low. Looks okay. I like Apple more. And if we're going to Tesla, Tesla's going to be my final watch. Like I said, it's going to be a short watch list. Just watching the names that can really give us some serious potential this week. Tesla keeps holding this 220 demand zone. I was expecting a break below it. It just held. We just held this area very, very strong. So right? Bounce here, bounce here, bounce here. And now we are forming like a potential higher low. The 250 is going to be like that pivot. If we stay above 250, then we have room to these recent highs at 276 and 290 area. So keep an eye on Tesla. If you want to even make this even more simple, watch Friday's low and Friday's high. One of those two levels will give us a good move in either direction. So definitely keeping Tesla on watch as we're showing signs of strength here. Anything below 212, it's gonna get ugly to the downside. For now, that's what we're working with, and that's gonna be my watch list, guys. SPY and QQ are probably gonna be the main ones that I trade over anything else. And that's the game plan for them. So I hope you guys enjoyed this watch list. Short, simple, volatile week. I hope you guys trade safe. And make sure to drop any questions if you guys have any in the comments. And thank you guys for watching. Peace.